Alright, now I want to have y'all put yourselves in a hypothetical situation. Now I want you to do this keeping in mind that somebody is actually in this position, so it's not hypothetical, it just is hypothetical for you. Let's say you're disabled. You have communication issues when you're stressed out. The more stressed you are, the more you have communication issues. Now let's say you go to see a friend who's going to help you. And this friend has never been into meth. And you get there, and he's methed out of his gourd, and he's screaming often. Him and his girlfriend are fighting, threatening to kill each other, threatening to kill themselves. And they go through this daily. And they wake up, and they smoke meth, and they argue and smoke meth, and argue and sell meth, and argue and go to the grocery store and come back and do some more meth. Now, these people, one of them said he was going to help you. And that's why you showed up. Because he said he was going to help how you needed. But you get there, and this meth consumes their entire lives. And they're constantly screaming at each other. And me, I make a phone call to my aunt to try to appeal to her to talk some fucking sense into my mom and dad. How maybe they should have given a shit at some point in my life instead of punishing me for not being perfect. I'm the black sheep because I'm the honest one. That doesn't mean that I'm Jesus. However, Jesus, being perfect, never had to admit that he was wrong. Now, did he? Imagine how things would have been different if he had. I screwed up a lot because I was given the wrong information. I was being lied to by Natalie Bollinger's family and people who pretend to be her family. Now you're in this hypothetical situation where you really need these people's help. And they can't stay sober long enough to help you. And they're screaming until, sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning. And you don't mess around with meth. But here you are in this environment where somebody that you care about greatly is doing meth. And somebody who obviously cares about you because they're letting you into their house. But the problem is they're not keeping their word because they're on meth. It's not because they don't want to keep their word. They had good intentions, but it's that addiction. It's the fact that runs their entire lives that makes it impossible for me to get the help that I need from them. And I'm not allowed to have a meltdown. Now let's imagine that while you're talking to your aunt, you get in trouble for talking to your aunt because the dude who you're supposed to be seeing and supposed to be getting help from is about to have a meltdown himself. Now he has these every day. So I have to not make phone calls to try to get help because he might have a meltdown. And I asked his girlfriend, hey, I'm trying not to have a meltdown every day. He's having them every day, She said, well, the difference is he'll get violent. So this is a hypothetical situation, right? Now let's say you're in this hypothetical situation and you need help. You need to be able to duplicate the evidence that you have because the police keep disappearing evidence that's not duplicated, and a lot of it that they just didn't realize was duplicated. Miss Peaches has a a scan disc with some information on it. So does Molly Smith. Meanwhile, I'm shut down because of the way that they act because they're on meth. But I'm not allowed to be shut down. They are, but I'm not. They're allowed to scream, but I'm not. They're allowed to pace, but I'm not. Meanwhile, I can't make phone calls. Put yourself in that situation, seriously. Would you be calm and collective? Or would you be trying to find a new place to go? Now keep in mind that before Natalie died, I had friends who were on both sides of the line. I had friends who were illegal aliens. I had friends who were American born. I had friends that were black. I had friends that were white. I was friends with some police officers, and I was friends with criminals. When all of this happened, people went two different ways. The criminals helped me out more than anyone else. The people who were addicts helped me out more than anyone else, but they're not equipped to help me how I need. Many of them due to fear of their own lives, fear of the things that they're already going through, fear for their children too. I like Mandy Hughes, I really do. I like Katie Cahill as well. I love Miss Peaches. Matter of fact, I can say I love Miss Mandy as well. She's a wonderful person. But the fucked up things that the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Department did with the money that she tried to send me for telephone calls so I could actually coordinate, so I could actually make the calls that my public pretender wasn't. Well, that money never showed up. And then when it was too late for it to matter, that's when her daughter put some money on my books. Is that me being ungrateful for the money that Alyssa put on my books? No, not even close. I'm still extremely grateful for it. I got to talk to people, and that gave me something to look forward to. In between the harassment and the threats and the bullying by the guards and the police. Not just in Arapahoe County Jail, but also in Larimer County Jail. Those were the two places where Alyssa Rainwater sending me money helped me out. The problem is that these people needed to come forward. They needed to be honest. They needed to tell what they knew. And they said that they would. Claimed that they were going to, and never fulfilled their promises. A lot of people said they tried to reach out to the media and the media blackballed them. Well, yeah, that's what they do. They don't care about the truth. And after they've printed something that's not true, well, if you're homeless, that's the reason they print it the way that they do. They know they can get away with it. They know they can get away with spinning a juicy story. But the fact is, I'm telling a true story. A true story of how these people's decisions affected the lives of others. How Natalie's decisions destroyed lives. How Alicia's decisions destroyed lives. And how they didn't care. See, I just needed the violence to stop. I needed to be able to see my loved ones without being threatened or harassed or assaulted. Had I been able to walk away in Virginia in 2016, we could have avoided all of this. But Natalie wouldn't let it go. Her family wouldn't let it go. Mattie Bowe wouldn't let it go. And because they would not let it go, an innocent man was harmed repeatedly. Because the police didn't care. That harm continued. And I was forced to do things that I never wanted to do. But you look at how many times I went and talked to the police and tried to get them to take my report. Over 100 times last year alone. Probably 1,000 times just in the Arapahoe County Jail. Send me someone here to take my report. Actually take my report. Don't throw it in the garbage in front of me. They've done this to many people. That's why police across the state of Colorado are so heavily invested in protecting these other officers. These things are not only illegal, they're also immoral, and you know it. Every person should be allowed an honest day in court. If you can omit all of somebody's evidence and just allow slander, then that ain't no kind of court of law. See, Donald Trump can commit whatever crimes he wants. He's going to get away with it because he's the president. He's more human than you or I. Me, I can't even defend myself. I can't defend myself. I don't have the money to do it. I don't have the physical ability to do it. That's my Aunt Mary.